All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. Going to take a look at its high intent Google searches that boudoir buyers are searching. See if it has BSS and see if we're meeting the GBC recommended minimum of hitting 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more on this, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph in white here. Highest in 10 people on the left. These are the peeps searching literally today for, boudoir photo shoot in their city. We focus on those peeps here with our BSS videos about BSS because these are highest intent, easiest to convert, closest to the money people. Over on the right, our lowest intent people. We talk about those with our sister brand of Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And currently over there, we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, BSS means boudoir search sameness. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots on page 1 on Google means obviously, they're on page 2 or deeper, somewhere deeper. And we care about this because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never ever even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done searches, that's it. Which means if we're on page 2, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market. And 1 slot on page 1 of Google, that ain't good either because, there's 10 organic slots page 1 on Google. If 9 other boudoir photographers each have 1 slot, everyone's looking the same, everyone's got 1 slot. We're not saying that, we're basically invisible. And guess what? A boudoir photographer is, or a boudoir buyer, their behavior is going to be just clicking through everyone on page 1. Well, approximately 80% of the boudoir buyers, they're only going to be clicking through everyone on page 1. They'll never go to page 2. And they'll be comparing everyone on page 1. And as a result, they will, filling out everyone's contact form, getting price quotes, negotiating, pulling down the price, asking for more. It's kind of annoying to deal with, to run a business that way. And most of them won't even go with us. So it's like, man, what's even the point? Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal. It is a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, the number one thing there is, well, basically everyone knows this. This is more boudoir photographers entering the market over time. Just simply as people upgrade their gear, kind of like get a new iPhone, get a new camera. This just naturally happens. Then eventually they throw up their Google My Business profile saying they're a boudoir photographer. And it's got their website ranking on page 1 on Google. They're competing to, saying they shoot boudoir photography. They are also increasingly posting in the mom groups on Facebook that that they now offer boudoir photo shoots. And a big market saturation time with COVID, tons of people lost their jobs, so they earn money. Everyone's got a super powered smartphone with awesome camera. Tons of people became boudoir photographers in that time. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is the new one that very few people know about. So what this is actually a lot of boudoir photographers have kind of assumed or accepted that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. And it's kind of like, yeah, whether Google wants to give you that slot, yes or no. And maybe you're on, who knows, slot 7, page 1, slot 7. Then some market saturation happened. Now you're on page 2, slot 2. And a lot of boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, I hope those new peeps, delete their website and Google de-indexes them. So maybe Google will bring me back up onto page 1. But no, this is 100% incorrect. This is the wrong way to think about it, because what we have learned and we have the data to show is Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want, and we actually do put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we discovered. So that's how we know the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. Again, if we got 0 slots page 1 Google search, that means we're page 2 or deeper. We're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot page 1 on Google, we're looking the same as the other 9 competitors that are on there for a total of 10 slots. We're still invisible. We're still disappearing. We're slowly dying. So in both these scenarios, it's kind of the canary in the coal mine, kind of the warning light, the red flag that's telling us our boudoir photography business itself is now on its way to disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered that BSS is actually treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. That's how we went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google in only 10 days. We'll see that data here, I don't know, like 4 or 5 more pictures. Now, S-cubed methodology, the way it works, it's exactly in the name. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up there for those. And this is kind of like, when we do this, it's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America on the eastern side, the backside. Snow back there. What eventually happens is that snow melts, small streams, small rivers, and guess what? It all flows into the Amazon River. That Amazon River is Google page 1. But to get all that water there, first got to be snow at the top of the mountains. So saturating social search, that's our snow. That's where everything begins. That's the input we care about, our S-cubed methodology. Everything flows from successfully executing S-cubed methodology correctly. And the interesting thing about this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually enables them, that gives them a chance for their business to continue to grow, even in the face of market saturation, and even if they don't have a large, well-known brand, and to do all this give them this opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other shot would obviously to have a large, well-known brand to compete against market saturation. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. We got AI taking people's jobs. We don't have time. We don't have 5 to 10 years to build a large, well-known brand. What's actually interesting is utilizing S-cubed methodology. My estimates is it will actually speed up the process of creating a large, well-known brand in an area by approximately 8x, because it'll be seen with such a much higher frequency across so many more platforms. That's my estimates. It's kind of like a secondary benefit of utilizing this technology. So now an example. All right, so right now we're going to Phoenix, and there are currently 1 million boudoir photographers in Phoenix. We are one of them. Since we don't have a large, well-known brand, then the only way we can, everyone's got their websites and their boudoir photographer competing page 1 in Google search. So since nobody's got any of those since there's so many competitors, we realize, all right, we got to use S-cubed methodology to get out of this mess. Let's say we crank it up to the max. Let's say we're ranked for the first 300 slots across all of social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And let's say that flows out onto Google. And we're taking up the first 300 organic slots on Google. And we know it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. And so as a result, taking up literally the first 30 pages, and we are basically, for any boudoir buyer to find any of our competitors, they got to scroll down to slot 301. And on Google, that's page 31. I mean, who's doing that? Basically no one. So when any boudoir buyer is actually searching for, any boudoir photo shoot in our city or any high intent boudoir buyer keyword in our city, we're basically the only ones showing up. And as a result, we, whose business is growing? Most likely ours. Whose business is dying, fading, disappearing? Most likely the other 999,999 boudoir photographers that buyers really can't even find them because we're saturating all the surfaces where they could be found. So this is kind of a ultra extreme example of what S-cubed methodology can enable for a boudoir photography business. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. Yeah, we got our initial benefit, more slots page 1 on Google. Got our second initial benefit of every new slot we get page 1 on Google. We actually get, we're actually kicking our competing boudoir photographers in our city off that page, and we effectively make them invisible because now they're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches are page one only searches. So we can basically choose to make our competitors disappear and put their business on the path of disappearing with depending on how much effort we want to put into acquiring all these slots. Now, page one visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe has a recommended minimum of having minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search. That's because all the other boudoir photographers will basically have one slot, so we're going to be dominating them for buyers scrolling page one. And on the ultra rare case, someone has 2 slots, we're going to be dominating them as well because we have 3. We also know the boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So we got our full basically our full kind of got our full micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality, the false belief page one equality. We can now solve it with SQ methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Just our kind of our micro universe here. And now we're gonna look at my results. So the results that I got purely using SQ methodology. So I want to dominate rank for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one Google search. And let's see the results I got with it. So we're getting slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So the best thing about this is from 0 to 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. Now onto the main event here. Going to see this boudoir photography business, see how the search is looking for the local and city search. Actually, they're both in this case. So if we got BSS, yes or no. So if we're in the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots paid on Google, or let's hit it, Bellingham, Washington. All right, so let's see what we got. Let's see. All right, so we do got one. Boom, we got one. All right, we got one. So we got 1 out of 10. And city's always the hardest one to rank for. So we got 1 out of 10. That's good. But we got BSS. We got boudoir search sameness. We also got we're not hitting the GBC recommended amount of 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done the local search for the highest intent keywords in your city that buyers would be searching, you're seeing, you've got BSS at the local level or the city level or both, or, you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page one Google organic search, then, so you're seeing you got BSS and you're seeing SQ methodology is the one solution for you, the one path forward. And, you want more slots on page one. You also want the extra bonus of kicking out competitors from page one, because now for approximately 80% of searchers, you won't be compared against them. The more we can kick off competitors off page one, the better. And you want to use SQ methodology because the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, the false belief. You know that Google actually wants to and will give as many number one slots to whoever wants to put in the effort to take them. You understand market saturation, get new phones, market's getting saturated more, boudoir photographers get new camera, saturating boudoir photographers more. And you're also seeing into the future where AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs. It's just going to be pushing more and more boudoir photographers into the market over time, or at least pushing more people to become boudoir photographers into the market over time because it's higher ticket. And look, everyone's got an amazing camera attached to their phone. So if you're seeing that and you realize, man, you want the initial benefits, but you also want the fortification benefits of S-cubed methodology to basically have a higher momentum wall of any new to market boudoir photographers from ranking on page one, taking those slots away from you. And so you're seeing all that. You want these kind of initial benefits. You want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer. You want to achieve boudoir search visibility because you know you need all those things to be the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want these extra few backend bonuses as well, which is kind of the more you successfully execute S-cubed methodology, the more we're building up kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns kind of attached to our brand, attached to our social accounts, attached to our name, our business name, kind of building up these invisible spokes connecting to our central hub that are building up the mindshare for us in the minds of AI search. So every day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology, and those initial benefits, then the extra backend benefit of higher chance we're the only one recommended here on AI Overview, premium placement above all other options. For every day we execute S-cubed methodology correctly, and higher chance we get recommended via AI search, which is basically ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. We're building up this brain space momentum in the back end in AI's, AI brain for a higher chance they recommend us through AI search with all these platforms. Because, we'll eventually build up enough invisible thematic keyword columns connected to us, which is what AI loves. And so backend benefits with that. And also the final backend benefit is every day we do this, we're pulling away from current boudoir photographers, building up all these initial benefits and the momentum to the future benefits, the domination of AI search. So remember last time I searched for boudoir photographers in a city, it recommended me 3, but I actually went and searched on my own, and there's like 60. So we're getting the initial benefits page one, kicking people off page one, so they're no longer findable. We are increasing mindshare for AI in the back end, for AI Overview, Google search, and all traditional AI search recommending us as well. And we actually, the more action we take now to separate us from current competitors and future competitors, the more momentum we build up, the harder and harder it will be for anyone to catch us. Because right now my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, which means we won't be, all the competitors will be left in the dust. But conversely, if you're seeing all that, you decide you're going to be the first mover of your city. Conversely, if a competitor moves first, then we'll be making all the initial benefits and future momentum towards future benefits with them. And you'll actually have to rederive or derive for the first time your own S-cubed methodology, figure out how to do it yourself. And then you have to go execute it, which you will not be 100% confident in because you will not know if you've successfully derived it for yourself, yes or no. You'd have to equal our execution to maintain the gap of yourself and me and your competitor. And you'd actually have to outwork us by 2 or 3x to, basically close the gap, pull back the brain space momentum, those invisible thematic keyword columns from AI that's going to your competitor back to you. And dude, who's got the time? There's only 24 hours in the day. How are you going to outcompete us when I invented this? So if you know you want all that, then shoot me a DM. You want to be a first mover in your city? Shoot me a DM when my DM's open for new patient intake. My DMs are currently not open for new patient intake. But when I do open my DMs for new patient intake, send me a message and we'll see if you qualify to use S-cubed methodology in your business.